Let's be real. Most entrepreneurs are chasing visibility the wrong way. They are on every platform, posting daily, burning out, and still they are not the authority in their industry. You don't need to post more content on social media. You need better rooms. And in the next few minutes, I'll walk you through the exact blueprint we use to get my clients on top 5% podcast guaranteed. And if you follow this blueprint, you will secure placements on the right podcast so you can build real authority and demand that never dries up. Hi, I am Christelle Biiga, your podcast matchmaker. I built my podcast booking agency, Exposure Maven, from nothing. No connections, no PR background, just a deep belief in what visibility can do and my personal experience with podcast guesting. When I started my coaching business years ago, I turned to podcast guesting out of necessity because I had no audience, no budget, no email list, just my voice and story. I didn't even know how to get booked on podcasts, but I knew that being interviewed by trusted hosts will help me build my authority fast. So I had to figure out how to make it happen. Eventually, after trials and errors and countless interviews, something clicked. I cracked the code on podcast guesting that actually drives results. Not just interviews, but opportunities. Not simple visibility, but real demand. Now my team and I use the same system to book high-performing entrepreneurs on top-tier podcasts without them having to lift a finger. Before we discuss why top 5% podcasts are the authority shortcut, please hit the subscribe and like buttons to support this channel. Thank you so much. Now let's talk about the power of top 5% podcasts and why we only target those for my clients. There are approximately 5 million podcasts globally, but 90% of them will not move the needle for you. For a show to be in the top 5% of podcasts, episodes typically get around 1,000 to 1,100 downloads within the first 7 days of release. Those are numbers from the most trusted industry databases. So, top 5% podcasts are not your body's basement podcasts. These are shows with real reach, loyal audiences, and hosts that hold influence in your space. Basically, getting featured on just one of these can outperform 10 low impact interviews because they are trusted platforms. And when you speak there, you borrow that trust. And the more interviews you do on these type of shows, your authority begins to compound. After the size of the show, the other key factor is audience alignment. This is where most people mess up. I often get asked, how many people will listen to my interview? How many subscribers do this show has, etc. They only care about chasing big shows without checking who is actually listening. Getting interviewed on a top 5% marketing podcast will not help you if you are, let's say, a trauma-informed coach speaking to women healing from burnout. In fact, even pitching that show will be a waste of your time because your chances of getting the host say yes are zero. Remember, you don't just need ears. You need the right ears. Those that are interested in what you have to say. That's why at Exposure Maven, we reverse engineer every placement. We start with your ideal client, who they are, their goals, pain points, etc. Then we research and select shows that they listen to and make sure to match you with hosts who already have their trust. When the audience of a podcast matches your target audience, your interview becomes a lead generation machine. And that's the power of audience alignment. Here is the next piece of the blueprint, your pitch. And that's a big one. At this point, we have sent and tested thousands of them. And here is what makes a pitch get opened, read, and replied to. First things first, a great subject line. Just like every email, a subject line is probably the most important piece because it's what compels the host to even read your pitch in the first place. So make sure that your subject line gets their attention right away. Next, you need a personalized opening. Start your pitch by referencing a specific episode you have actually listened to. You don't want to send a generic pitch to all the hosts out there. In fact, hosts can sniff a generic pitch from a mile away. Then you need to anchor your authority. Put the fluff and establish your credibility as fast as you can. What results, features, and frameworks make you worth listening to? Make it short and sweet. The next piece is topic clarity. In your pitch, you want to include 2 to 3 angles that are actually relevant to the show. Not what you want to talk about or like to talk about, but what their audience needs. Lastly, lead with a service-based energy. Your pitch should read like, here is what I can do for your audience, not here is why I'm amazing. That's a big no-no. Hosts only care about providing value to their audience. So in your pitch, show them that you can deliver. That's what we do for our clients. We custom craft every pitch. We do not use copy and paste templates or shortcuts. We position them as must-have guests. If you are watching this thinking, Christelle, thanks for the great info, but I just want someone to handle this for me. Awesome. At Exposure Maven, we guarantee bookings on top 5% podcasts. We do the targeting, the pitching, coordinate scheduling, prepare you for your interviews so you speak like a pro, and even provide a personalized post-interview strategy for maximum reach and results. You just show up and speak. We handle the rest. So if you have got the results, the story, the message, let's make sure you are seen and heard by the people who need you most. Tap the link in the description and the pinned comment below to book a call with me and see if this is a fit. Your voice belongs on the biggest stages. So let's get you there. Now let's talk about preparation, because the best placement in the world will not convert if you are not ready for the mic. I bring my background in speaker coaching and empowerment, and I use that to help my clients show up with authority. Here are a few ways I do that. We use my Anchor Authority framework to help you develop 2 to 3 powerful stories that anchor your message emotionally and convert attention into action. Then we do a few mock interviews. We simulate real podcast dynamics so you can practice your pacing, presence, and seeding your call to action naturally. Lastly, we do the confidence reframe. I use somatic tools and mindset reframes to shift you from fear to confidence. As a result of this coaching, you will not just sound polished, you will sound unforgettable. And that's what gets you invited back. Your interview shared more and remembered by listeners ready to work with you. That's all I have for you today. And if you are serious about becoming the authority in your niche, not next year, but now, book a call with me using the link below and let's see if we are a fit. Or if you are not sure you are ready just yet to be featured on podcast, take my free podcast guesting assessment. The link is in the description. It's a 2-minute quiz that will show you exactly where you stand and what you need to refine before you hit the mic.